How important is it for audiences to see themselves in the characters they see on screen?
How important is it for audiences to see themselves? I think they should see themselves in whoever the protagonist is. But I think the thing that people confuse is that person should look like you. There are so many times I've seen movies where I identified with a character who wasn't my age, wasn't my gender, wasn't my ethnicity. And I think we live at a time now where people are so narcissistic, they look at movies like video games.
You've got to do the evil laugh, folks. You do, don't you? Because, well, what do you have to say these days? You know, yeah, we can sigh, we can groan, we can moan. But when I see titles like this, Tom Taylor and his DC Comics gay Superman, Jonathan Kent, not Clark Kent. The sales of that comic book have fallen off the top 50. Serves him right. I can't say any more than that. Fans were not clamoring for this. It's an insult to fans who may be of a different sexual persuasion, who they assumed would want this version of their character to be this way. If that community exists, it's on the Twitterverse, nowhere else. But today, we're looking at another race swap for a CW show that is going to be dead on arrival. I am talking about the Gotham Knights series. Didn't even know this was a thing, actually. So you have a Caucasian redhead, Carrie Kelly, aka the female Robin, and she's going to be played by Nia Robinson. I know nothing about Nia Robinson, except for the fact that they've completely done a 360 on this change. I don't know why they do that. And look, actually, you know what? I want to get into that section later on because this is going to be the first of two stories on on an exact theme, actually. So, Carrie Kelly, female Robin. Okay, now back in 2016, when Ben Affleck was still Batman, and he appeared in a Gavin O'Connor film called The Accountant. Very good film, by the way. And he's playing opposite John Bernthal in that. But also, a talking point for me was Anna Kendrick, because if you see her dynamic with Ben Affleck, it reminded me of Batman and Robin. And of course, I think there were hints that they wanted to bring back Robin into a live action version. Anna Kendrick for me would have been perfect, but I guess nobody was pushing that because they probably thought a female Robin wouldn't really work in a Batfleck universe. I think if you watch The Accountant and you see how she interacts with Ben Affleck, I kept seeing Batman and female Robin, and it would have worked. Nobody would have said anything. Anna Kendrick is hot. She would have been perfect. But when you look at this, it's kind of an insult to Frank Miller, because this is the original version of Carrie Kelly back in 1986. Good year for comics. And it's the Dark Knight Triumphant, where we see the debut of Carrie Kelly as female Robin. And it's fine. I know nothing much about the character. She doesn't resonate with me in any way, shape or form. I'm sure she's got her cult following of fans. I can't deny that. And this is what the CW, a once celebrated TV network, when they had things like Smallville and Supernatural, which thankfully never went down the woke rabbit hole, thank God. You know, it was about two based Caucasian males that everybody liked and idolized. And, you know, we had that for our troubles. But now for our sins, we get Supergirl, which thank God is ended. Batwoman, Naomi, which I hear is an absolute comedy riot of a show. I'm not going to watch that. But of course, this takes me back to another story that was out 2 days ago. Netflix's Valhalla, or Vikings Valhalla. They race and gender swapped an historical Norwegian ruler called Jarl Hakon. And look, when I go and watch something on the big screen, on a small screen, or when I'm opening up a comic book, I'm not begging for myself to be represented. I just want to see good storytelling, a badass set of characters that go and kick ass. You know, that's the reason why I relate to Peter Parker as Spider-Man, because as Peter Parker, I can relate to the trials and tribulations of life that he goes through. Dating chicks, paying the bills on time, keeping a roof over your head. That's what matters to me. Miles Morales is not Spider-Man. Miles Morales is just Miles Morales. when you race swap a character, when you typically race swap a white character for a person of color, to quote Chuck Dixon, the man behind Bane and Batman, you're not giving that black person a culture of their own. They're inhibiting somebody else's culture. That is what they're doing. Why don't you just create a brand new person of color, a character of color, put them in that universe and see how the audience may resonate towards them? You know, it can happen. But don't even get me started today, because people just don't want to, they refuse to invent new characters. It's like, let's see, who do we have here? Who can we destroy and incite the wrath of the fandom? Oh yeah, so in this case, it's Netflix, because it's Netflix. Well, you know, it wouldn't be anybody else, right? Of course, Netflix would actually do this. So Vikings Valhalla, I was excited initially to watch this show. I'm not going to watch it anymore. I'm sticking to the original Vikings series from the History Channel, because yes, the History Channel understood how to make a TV show like Vikings. So building upon the groundwork laid by the history-bending castings, it's not a history, well, yeah, I know what they're doing there, of Anne Boleyn and Queen Charlotte, the historically white and male Norwegian ruler Jarl Hakon has been both race and gender swapped for his appearance in Netflix's Vikings Valhalla. The Anne Boleyn casting from Jodie Turner-Smith, one of the worst actresses I've ever seen. If you saw her in the John Clark show on Amazon, she's awful. In Queen and Slim, she's awful. She's starring opposite Daniel Kaluuya, another guy I cannot stand, because in 2013, I met him behind the scenes of Welcome to the Punch. He's an awful dude. Don't like him at all. Very up his own arse. So I can't, anything that he appears in, I just won't watch for that very reason at all. He reinforces the fact that some actors can be a bunch of a-holes, and he clearly proved that. Oh God, never meet your heroes, folks. That's all I'm going to say. And yeah, the whole thing about Anne Boleyn, well, we're playing her as a black female. No, Anne Boleyn historically is a white woman. She's depicted in paintings and in literature as a white woman. End of story. You cannot revert that. You can't build a time machine and go back in time and just give her a black face. You cannot do that. I'm sorry, folks. Oh my God. So born Hakon Sigurdsson in roughly 937, Jarl Hakon, Jarl being the Norse culture equivalent of a king, the Trondelag and Helgeland coastal regions of Norway between 961 and 955, following the murder of his father by his rival, King Harald. And this is what the dude looks like. He looks like a based dude with a great beard and a great mane of hair. I love all that shit. And that's who he was drawn by this person in 1852 to 1925, Christian Krog. I think that's how you pronounce the surname. During his time, Hakon not only oversaw a number of military campaigns against his European neighbors, as most Viking leaders did back then, but also stood fast as one of the last pagan rulers of Norway to prevent the spread of Christianity and reinforce the worship of Norse gods, even after being forcefully baptized, in 975. Now, for the character's introduction in the Netflix series, she's portrayed by Danish pop jazz singer Caroline Henderson. Jarl Hakon is depicted as the benevolent and wise ruler, because they have to be good, obviously, in this case, in keeping with the characterization of the Kattegat region in Denmark, itself shown as an open haven for people of various faiths and ethnicities during a time of conflict based on these attributes. Although the character has been regularly being put forth by the series cast and crew as an entirely fictional character, he's historical, see, I'm saying it now. Given both the character's name and role in the story, it's clear that Henderson's Jarl Hakon was based on a real-world Norse ruler of the same name. And of course, has Caroline Henderson defends her portrayal. She's done tons of research, but she's not given us an iota of proof of what she's uncovered. And look, I don't dispute as well that you will have travelers of color at the time the Vikings were depicted. I am pretty sure they were there too. And I'm pretty sure the Vikings, being the naughty men and women that they were back then, would have intermingled with those cultural species. But as it's been told and time and time again, even the History Channel has done this, you're talking about Norse mythological times. This is what they chose to depict. So if you want to go in there and actually take an established character like Jarl Hakon and race and gender swap the dude, that's an insult. Again, the person of color that inhibits this role now, you're implying this particular person of color doesn't have a culture of their own that you could probably give to us in the form of a brand new character. It is so cringeworthy, isn't it, folks? You have to laugh at this, don't you? You can't do anything else but laugh at these continuing mistakes, these awful takes from Hollywood. Let them burn themselves to the ground. Nobody cares, because then what I will do, I'm doing what I've done this week. I'm going back to watching the Orville season 1. Seth MacFarlane telling us how you actually revisit the Star Trek franchise and do it right. Picard, awful. Star Trek Discovery, STD, is unfortunate acronym. Nobody wants to watch that because it's gone down the woke rabbit hole. Well, it started off woke from the very beginning, from what I've been told. I could not get into it. It's awful. It's Alex Kurtzman. He's attached to it. Alex Kurtzman, a best tug buddy, I'm going to say no more on that one, with Jar Jar Abrams. I'm just done, guys. I'm done with this entertainment going forwards until someone says to me, oh, you should check this show out, Jace. It's going to be good. It's going to be right up your street. But yes, and yeah, I don't really like to use the word woke these days, but every time you use it, people know, it draws people in. They know what you're talking about, and I'm going to keep on doing it. I like to take a Chuck Dixonism here and just say it's the grooming of narration going forward. That's what they're doing. They're grooming that narrative because it's to suit their needs, not to make you happy. And the whole point of comics and films and TV and everything else, it's a form of escapism. It's not about forcing politics down your frigging throat. We don't want it. We want that, we'll just go to the current news and see what they're doing there. But if you enjoyed this video today, folks, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like the like button, because I'm trying to get up to 1,000. And if I were you, I'll check me out on my next video.
Once you understand the true nature of heroism, you will fly. But first, I must teach you the secret to becoming a superhero. Hey, Storm, you look like you're putting on a little weight.
Like and subscribe, or get your nuts Krogan crushed with Jason King.